for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the February meeting of the Philipstown Town Board. Who would figure winter would go by this quick, this pleasantly?
Yeah.
Approval of minutes. Year-end meeting, December 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Philipstown Depot Theater Development meeting of January 7th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, unanimous. Reorganizational meeting of January 7th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Monthly Town Board meeting, January 7th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Committee reports, CAC.
Okay, the Conservation Board did not have agenda items for a meeting, but we'll be discussing next Tuesday, getting our meeting updates, and also preparing the annual report. The other thing we'll be looking at, for those that remember, would be like taking a look again at scheduling our spring stormwater management meeting for the town. So we'll be discussing that with the wetlands inspector and the board. And then something I'd like to bring up to the board, something maybe we could do like in April, which is a good month to actually look at the ground before foliage begins. Start to identify wetlands in the town, even down beyond the quarter. Because there are questions that come up at times. I've gotten some questions on small ones. There's no reason we can't preserve or certainly give people advice on those, because anything at all is an improvement. Remember, this isn't just for water holders. This is also to help water quality. So that's something else we'll be looking at as well. So we'll be meeting on next Tuesday the 9th.
Perfect, thank you, Mike. Recreation.
I attended the January 28th meeting of the Philipstown Recreation Commission. Minutes of the prior meeting were read and approved. The financials for the year were also read. The rec department exceeded their projected income of $586,000 by $10,000 to a total of
Speak into the mic
I'm
again.
sorry, to a total of $596,213. They also ended the year $4,000 under on the spending side for a total of $938,579. I would like to commend Amber and the Rec Commission for their work and accuracy on the 2015 budget year. Amber reported that the Spring Brook will be out, and here it is, hot off the press, so if anybody needs it. It is available. It's in the PCNR. It's also in a lot of the stores this week. So that is out, and registration for residents begin on February 8th and non-residents on the 16th. The next senior luncheon is scheduled for Wednesday, February 24th. Please call the Rec Center at 424-4618 to register. The Depot Theater is currently closed for renovations. The seats are being replaced and the floor is being refinished. And this week, believe it or not, Saturday, we will have the Winter Carnival, and Joel, our Rec Commission Chairman, is here to discuss the Winter Carnival.
All right, Joel.
Thanks for coming, Joel.
You guys all look so nice tonight. Feel underdressed. So yes, despite the lack of winter, we are still going to have the Winter Carnival. We've changed some of the activities to reflect the weather. So at Winter Hill, from 1 to 4, we'll still be doing the ice carving demo. We'll have 2 hikes, one at 1:30 and one at 3 o'clock. There'll be guided hikes up to the North Redoubt. And we will do at 2 o'clock, a modified Philipstown biathlon, which will be running through an obstacle course and then throwing footballs at the end through targets. So that'll, instead of sledding and the other half of the biathlon. And we'll also have story time with Jonathan Kruk. And then in the evening from 4 to 8 at the Rec Center, we are going to still have an outdoor fire in a fire pit, along with some music outside. We're going to have some laser tag outside in the playground area for the kids. We'll have activities in the gym as well as in the game room downstairs. We'll be serving pasta dinner. And then finally, the Cold Spring Film Society will be showing Ernest and Celestine at 6 o'clock. So come on out.
Great.
Carnival this Saturday.
Great lineup.
Although we're going to get snow tonight, so maybe we'll be sledding after. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Way to reinvent it because of the weather on a short notice. That's great.
moving behind the scenes.
That's pretty creative.
Nice. Recycling.
Nothing new on recycling. The e-waste has been picked up. We're getting on a better schedule with that. You know, it's just they seem to need lots of notice
Good.
to pick up. So
Thank
maybe,
you.
Like, call them to pick it up as soon as they pick it up for the next month, I guess.
Nice. Get them a month in advance. Planning Board.
Okay, planning board was held January 21st, 7:30, Butterfield Library, ended at 8:35. There were 4 items on the agenda. First was Joseph Tundra, 3 Lub subdivision on 992 Albany Post Road in Garrison. All he was requesting is return of his escrow. The escrow was requested, was granted. The second item on the agenda was the Lex lot line adjustment, 24 Hummingbird Lane, Garrison. They're requesting an extension for their, waiting on the Putnam County Board of Health. That was also granted. This is this at least the second or third time that they've granted an extension for the planning board for them, but they have some reasons. There's a couple issues over the Board of Health for some reason, getting this approved. The third item on the agenda was the Conti Fish Construction Company, which is 17 Skyline Lane, Garrison, New York. They had a minor amendment to the site plan. Originally, they had a flat roof. Now they're changing that roof to a pitched roof. The issue with this is that the area they're in is in a scenic. The height of the building is going to change. It's going to be visible from the road now, as originally was not supposed to be planned visible from the road. So all they're concerned about that is there was a special use permit when they first granted this a few years ago. Anyway, they have a site scheduled visit for February 7th, which is this Sunday at 9:30, and they're having a public hearing, the next planning board, which will be February 18th at 7:30. The last item on the agenda was County Line Equities, which is 1980 Route 9 Garrison. It's a corner of Route 9 and Travis Corner Road. That's where Rodak usually has, that's his building there. He doesn't own the building, but he rents there. The issue is that he has many more parked cars there in that yard than he's really supposed to have. So right now, another problem, the other issue is there's another building in there that currently is not vacant, and that's up for rent. So if someone does come in and rent that site, the other building, they're gonna have a problem with too many cars being parked on there. So that's the reason they're trying to get up to code on this. Anyway, they're supposed to have 46 parking spaces altogether, and currently Rodak is using like 44 of those out of 46. Anyway, they're having a site visit to that as well. As soon as they finish the first place, they're going to move on to there, and that's scheduled for February 7th, so it's probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And they're also having a public hearing held for February 18th. The next planning board, as I just indicated, is February 18th, Butterfield Library, 7:30.
Thanks, Bob. Part of the issue with Rodak up there is he's an impound lot, and the police bring cars there, and he doesn't, he really can't refuse them, and it's the local impound, so it seems like they should be able to work out something there.
Yeah, I think the planning board's pretty confident they can.
Yeah, well, that's good.
7th,
The 7th.
the site visit?
The site visit, the 18th.
That's planning.
Planning,
Yeah,
18th.
the 7th is the site visit.
All right, thank you, Bob. Zoning.
I attended the January 11th meeting of the ZBA. There were 2 agenda items. Review for completeness for John and Kimberly Sabatini at 101 Dix Castle Road, Garrison, New York. Appeal number 891. Applicant seeks relief from several codes, a building type on slope greater than 20% and 35%, and the amount of impervious surface that exists on a lot. Application was deemed complete, and public hearing was scheduled for Monday, February 8th. The second item was James and Melanie Matero, 32 Hudson River Lane, Garrison, appeal number 892, review for completeness. Applicant seeks relief for alteration and reconfiguration of a deck that was granted a variance in 1996 for a side and rear setback encroachment. The application was deemed complete, and the public hearing was also scheduled for Monday, February 8th, which is the next meeting of the ZBA. And I'd like to just thank Kim Shoemaker. Kim took over as an interim secretary for that board. In a matter of a couple weeks, has got all the minutes up to date and the files straightened out, and the agenda set for next month's meeting, so.
That's great.
Thank
That's a
you, Kim.
relief. I know to the ZBA, it's probably a relief, so.
Yes, it is. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Highway.
I have that also. Philipstown Town Board members from Carl Frazenda, work performed by the Philipstown Highway Department for the month of January. Avery Road Bridge repair is moving forward. Putnam Engineering will be designing the project, and as soon as that is completed, we will put it out to bid. On South Mountain Pass, an under drain was installed to alleviate an ongoing problem of water that was surfacing from the banks, creating icy conditions on the new surface. Tree removal was done along Old Albany Post Road and Canopus. There are more trees that have been tagged to come down throughout the town, so this will be an ongoing task. The crews have been busy clearing waterways and drainage and cutting brush along the roads. As winter approaches, we would like to remind all residents that pushing of snow onto the town roads is prohibited and action will be taken to those violating that code. It creates hazardous conditions for motorists and takes time away from the crews during the busy time to go back and clean it up. Winter finally arrived on January 23rd. It was a storm that lasted from Saturday morning until the early hours of Sunday morning. The crew did an outstanding job of clearing the roads during the storm. This monthly report is submitted by Carl Frazenda, Highway Superintendent.
And our thanks to Carl. Building and land acquisition. Well, we did have a meeting to discuss
Yeah, we had a meeting.
the
to
campus
discuss
here, and
Campus here, and talked about what we're gonna do with the Dahlia House. We moved a few filing cabinets out of here to the Dahlia House to make room for the med drop box. But we did have a meeting, and we're gonna be hiring Mike Carr, right, to do the design
yes.
for this. So we're moving forward with that.
Yeah, so as soon as he gets back to us, we'll have another meeting, and then,
We have a scheduled workshop the 24th, I believe, for nothing yet, for Talia? I thought we did schedule.
I think we're
Wednesday of February.
waiting for Mike to get back to us. I don't know if we had
Yeah,
scheduled
he
something
He said
that
something
night.
about- He wasn't
He
positive
wasn't
about a written
sure.
He
proposal.
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I know originally we
Yeah.
planned on that night,
Right.
but he came back and wasn't sure if he was gonna be able to get it and have everything in time for that day.
Well, we'll wait to hear from Mike, and then we'll get back together. But I'm sure between the 24th and the 1st, we'll be.
Do we need to do a resolution tonight to hire him? Did we get anything?
It doesn't exceed.
Doesn't exceed
Yeah,
the
so-
allotted amount, so no,
or
really. I mean, we
procurement.
can do it next week.
Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna meet next week anyway. All right, well, that's good, that's moving along. Putnam County Legislator.
He has a conflict tonight, and he's
Okay.
unable to attend.
Yeah, tourism meeting. Cemetery Committee.
Okay, the weather did postpone us, but we did get some work done. One, the trees keep falling in Cedar Street. I've had more trees since a year ago taking this over than I'd probably in 10 years, but it did fall in the front. The school, while we were in the process, and I want to thank the board members too for being diligent and watching as well, the Haldane School did contact us, and I called them back to let them know, because what I've been raising in the past is something we've always been concerned about, and that is the kids congregate towards those two cemeteries on breaks or after school. So it is we're very mindful of the trees there. Fortunately, this particular section of tree did not take out any more graves. But I did have them also take the two sides I was a little concerned with, so they took some of that down too, because again, if the kids are standing there and it gets windy, they may not be thinking about that, so hopefully.
If the cigarettes don't get them, the trees will.
Hopefully, we'll have some money this year to go on, because besides the physical work we want to do there, we obviously also want to be able to start to do some mapping. I was in contact, and some of the board members worked on this as well. We will be meeting with a town person who wants to remain anonymous at this point. Her son was an Eagle Scout at the time and performed a project, and believes has a complete mapping of the Cedar Street Cemetery at least, so that'll be a good leg up for us. So we'll be meeting with them, and then we'll re-examine all that, but that's another piece we have to examine. So we're working on those two sides, and we're going to be meeting this Tuesday,
Terrific.
the 9th.
Thanks for all your work on that, Mike, that's great. Butterfield Library.
I'm gonna try to edit this. There's a lot of exciting things happening at the Butterfield Library. They have new security cameras that were successful in helping the recent incident at the library. They were able to, use the cameras to capture the perpetrator. So the library will continue to evaluate safety with the library, but users should keep in mind that no public place is completely safe. New to this month to the library is a subscription to Ancestry.com. The library currently offers a shared version of this genealogy database, but now patrons will have access to a private account. Please contact the library for details. The library offers a digital magazine service. Visit butterfieldlibrary.org to begin reading whatever, wherever, whenever you want. Our digital magazines can be viewed on most internet-enabled devices inside or outside of the library. People are using the library's Book a Librarian service. This service allows patrons to reserve a time to work with a librarian one-on-one on a particular topic of interest. Topics can include research, technology assistance, tips on how to use the library, job and resume help. I'm gonna need that. And so much more. Visit butterfieldlibrary.org to sign up. Keep in mind the library offers museum passes to patrons in Philipstown, and they're always adding new museums and welcoming your suggestions. Are you unable to visit the library? Don't forget that the Butterfield Library offers home delivery to any Philipstown residents. It's easy to sign up and it's free. Contact the library 265-3040 or jblstaff@gmail.com. For more information regarding anything, just contact or sign on to butterfieldlibrary.org.
Thank you. Our thanks to Jillian.
Thanks, Jillian.
Okay.
You're on.
The first item is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the contract between the town of Philipstown and the Putnam County Humane Society for shelter services for 2016.
Okay, this is something we do every year. It's just a matter of course. We do have the whole agreement here. The budgetary amount has been allotted in this year's budget. They certainly do need it for all the work they're doing over there. So with that, I entertain a motion on the resolution authorizing me to sign the contract.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
The next is resolution to reappoint the following to the Philipstown Zoning Board of Appeals for a 5-year term, and that would be Leonard Lim, and his term would expire March 31st, 2021.
Any discussion on this? John, you attend those meetings?
Participates, has been on the board longer than I've been the liaison to the board, so he's there, does his job.
So get a motion on the resolution to reappoint Leonard Lim for a 5-year term expiring March 31, 2021.
2021.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, Lenny.
Welcome back, Lenny.
Okay, the next is a resolution to reappoint the following to the Philipstown Planning Board for a 4-year term. That would be Peter Lewis, and his term would expire March 31st, 2020.
We're happy to have Peter Lewis, a smart guy. We're fortunate to have him.
Newer member on the planning board, right?
Yes, he is a
Yes.
newer member yet. He's filling in,
That's great.
and now he's about to take an
Yeah, he's-
official seat here.
Jumping in.
A 4-year term. So with that, get a motion on the resolution to reappoint Peter Lewis to a 4-year term expiring March 31, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed? 2020, that's got a ring to it, right? Who knew?
Next item is resolutions to reappoint the following to the Philipstown Conservation Board for a 2-year term. Mark Galazzo, Eric Lind, Andrew Galler, and Robert Repetto. Their terms will expire March 3rd, 2018.
We're happy to have such an active conservation board and dedicated members and also really super knowledgeable members.
Very knowledgeable, yeah. I mean, Mark Galazzo stepped up as chairman. Eric Lynn needed to go step down because he needed some more educational experience in this area. He's an expert and very dedicated to the town. Also, Andy Galler has tremendous experience, and Robert Petto has a lot of mapping and design experience. It's just fascinating to listen to them when they're up here discussing issues with them. They're highly qualified. I recommend all 4.
All right, well, with that, we'll move ahead. What's that?
That is interesting. These are 2-year terms. The others are 5.
2, 4, 5, 7.
Yours-
Grove?
It was a committee, right, when it was first formed, not a board, so.
It
maybe
was a
that's-
committee.
That's why it's a 2-year versus.
No, I think these terms are set forth by the state, you know, the municipal law.
Well, 5 years is a long term.
7 years for the rec commission.
7.
It'll all be 2.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's
So
fine.
did.
If New York State can set out another mystery, they will. I try to figure out their tax code. I do payroll. I sit there and scratch my head going, hey, who invented this? What twisted mind came up with this? All right, with that, we get a resolution appointing the following members, reappointing the following members to the Conservation Board: Mark Galazzo, Eric Lind, Andy Galler, Andrew Galler, and Robert Repetto, all ending in 2018, March 3rd, 2018.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. I vote aye. Any opposed? Our thanks again, really, to these members. It's a lot of work.
Just is there any thought maybe you start in the stagger these so you all don't come, they'll do it at the same time?
Well, we do have
Oh, you
some.
know,
But there's 7 on the whole
Oh,
board.
there's 7, oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
Apologize.
Yeah,
Should be in.
so they don't all jump ship at once.
Yeah, they've been on a while, so they don't move like a lot. Thankfully, they don't.
Do you want to just
You don't have to replace it.
appoint me to the Putnam Transportation, so that's just on record? Apparently, they need approval.
Sure, we could do that. I guess we had talked about this in the reorg, about Nancy being our liaison or a member of the Putnam,
Well,
County.
I will stay on, but it's hard, like I said, it's hard for me to attend meetings, but
but we have alternate members.
Correct, that
Putnam
would
County
work well.
Transportation Safety Board. So if we could appoint Councilwoman Montgomery to that also, that would be helpful, I know, to you. So I would entertain a resolution appointing Councilwoman Montgomery to the Putnam County Transportation Safety Board.
second motion.
Yeah, we probably should do a motion. I'll make the motion.
Okay, second.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Any opposed? Well, now you're really a member.
Well, they have to accept as well, so that's the way.
Boy, if they don't,
I don't think it'll be an issue. So,
no, it shouldn't be. Got quality people here.
top notch.
Thanks.
You're the best. All right.
I like the transportation
The
issue.
next item is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the agreement for telephone services between the town of Philipstown and Cornerstone Solutions.
So our thanks to the town clerk for doing the research on Cornerstone. We do get a better deal from them, and apparently we continue to get
Bob
it.
and I met with her.
yeah,
Better
we
deal.
met with them, they're gonna make some modifications to the system, and they're gonna reduce it about $150 a month savings.
Wow.
Not much, but it's better than nothing.
Hey, that's real money around these parts. So thank you, Tina. If I get a motion on the resolution to sign a contract with Cornerstone Solutions for telephone service.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Any opposed? Good.
Okay, the next item is a resolution requesting the reform of New York State public education funding.
Well, I said I would do something to this, but I never did. It's a good effort. I guess it's a worthwhile initiative. The resolution is a little cloudy, but we'll see how this goes. I don't know, has everybody had a chance to look at this?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's something, gotta try it, right? Give it a shot.
This is, I guess, a minor movement to move from a property tax system for funding public government for schools.
Yeah, Sandra
It
Gaelic
works
spoke
well when you
about
have
that,
kids
too.
in the school, but once your kids are all going and out
Out
of
of the school, it's kind of hard to absorb, so.
So it would be a move to go to sales tax and income tax rather than property tax.
Yeah, Sandra Gaelic spoke about that last month, and that was an initiative that was going before them.
Right.
So she was looking for some feedback, and it's kind of tough for people to retire, and they may have, the house is worth the money, but, they're on a fixed income, they were probably making a lot less than they did when they were working, and it's just not, adequate to expect people like that to pay that large amount of school tax.
No,
just-
it's hard. I mean, a lot of people have, lived a long time in the same property, and it may be have increased in value, but it doesn't mean that they're, when you're on a fixed income, that doesn't mean anything. And
The value of the house may stay the same, but your taxes continue to go up every year based on the assessment.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the school tax bill is generally the largest bill you're going to receive anyway. I mean, the shocking part is you always get it all at once, but
So this was initiated by you, this is presented by you, or who put this before us?
This was sent out, I can't remember which assemblyman sent it down.
It was the town of, because we received it quite a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago, so not
Was it
even,
Ossining?
no, it wasn't.
No,
It was
It
okay.
wasn't Austin,
No,
it was
okay.
upstate.
upstate somewhere,
It was
yeah.
upstate somewhere. They sent out this.
I don't have a problem. I mean, what's the
I think
Worth a
it's
shot,
well
you know.
worth
shot? Yeah.
supporting.
Yeah,
Fully
the one,
support it.
and I just had to point out, you know, they say 2% tax cap. We've never been at 2%. The first year we were around 1.86 and it went down to around 1. And last year it was 0.56, and by all appearances going even lower. You know, that's another issue. Is what do you do if you have to undertake an infrastructure project, and that's not a lot of wiggle room. It's also not a lot of wiggle room when you're looking at the things that are included in the 2% cap, the 2% cap where all the state mandates, they go up. Our workers' comp jumped up 12% one year, the retirement system jumps up, all these things jump up, and if you get a 12 and a 9 and a 6% increase, where do you come up with that money on a 0.56% increase that you're bound to locally? So, at any rate, this resolution, I guess maybe it'll reach the Assembly floor or Senate floor.
It's going to
They'll-
go up to Governor Como too.
Yeah, they'll,
Sandra Galup's mentioned it, that they're gonna discuss this.
okay. All right. Well, with that, I would entertain a motion on the resolution requesting reform of the New York State public education funding.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
It's a roll call vote.
Roll
though.
call vote. No. Councilman Flaherty.
Yes.
Councilman Leonard.
Aye.
Councilwoman Montgomery.
Aye.
Councilman Van Tassel.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye. There we go.
Send it.
Send it up.
Okay, the next item is a resolution awarding the Avery Road Bridge Replacement Project to Putnam Engineering in the amount of $23,330. And we received a letter from Highway Superintendent Carl Frisenda explaining that this went out to bid in 2014 for design and construction services. And at that time, they came in at $23,330, and they have confirmed they will honor that same pricing in 2016.
Wow.
This is just for the engineering piece of this, correct?
Yes. All right, well,
They were considerably lower than the next bidder, $7,000 or $8,000 lower,
yeah, and I imagine
How
that,
much?
7,000 or 8,000. So,
well, that's good.
and we have used them before.
Yeah, we're familiar with Putnam Engineering. All right, well, with that, I would like to award the Avery Road Bridge Replacement Project engineering portion to Putnam Engineering in the amount of $23,330.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed? Our thanks to Carl Frisenda.
Okay, the next item is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign a letter of support for Renewal Farms application for funding and licensing from Oasis, and this is Nunc Pro Tunc.
All right, we've already sent this out. They're a great group down there. You see these guys selling flowers and produce sometimes down in the former Highland Land Trust parking lot, which is, I don't know what it is now, Wunderskills or something like that. Outdoor furniture, but we should support these local farm projects, especially one as worthy as this. It employs people who need that sort of employment. So if you would authorize me to sign this Nunc Pro Tunc.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is the Code Enforcement Monthly Report. Fees collected, $11,476.71. 15 permits issued, 2 new one or two family dwellings, 2 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 11 all other permits, pools, sheds, decks, plumbing, HVAC, etc., 11 COs issued, and 1 stop work order.
Would have been water.
It could have been.
All right. You know, Kevin has settled in nicely here, and we need to recognize that. He really has been doing a terrific job. We get a lot of compliments now. We're looking to potentially have a cooperative effort with Nelsonville and their building department, so some consolidation there. I'd like to take up the conversation with the Village of Cold Spring again and see how that could come along. We need to do some consolidation, and you know, we got to look at some other things too, but the building department seemed to be a good starting place. So, thanks to Kevin for that monthly report. Guess we have the bid for the junker and back. So you can tow it out of here. This car was only driven to church on Sunday.
Was pushed down,
We have a sole bidder.
Tina, you want to read this?
Sure.
Thank you.
The town clerk's office held a bid opening at the Town Hall, 238 Main Street, Cold Spring, New York, on February 4th at 2 p.m. for the sale of a 2000 Ford Explorer VIN number whatever. The bid result is as follows. John S. Jessic, sole bidder, in the amount of $201.
Well, there we have it. I would move.
No problem with John being working for the town.
No, he
Okay.
could submit a bid.
Okay.
It's an open bidding process. It's completely transparent. If anybody wanted it, they certainly could have bid on
Competition.
it. We just won't have to haul it off because you're not getting much for scrap now. Actually, you got to pay to get rid of iron. Yep.
You're not getting a penny a pound out or something like that.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, John, congratulations. Could I get a motion accepting the bid?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
There we go. Get,
with that cream puff.
get, yeah, get it out of here.
Tonight.
Get it off the property.
And I have one more item to, Amy Dool came in and she asked that the town board pass the resolution for a Greenway grant for the Depot Theater, and the project name is, I have it written down.
Looking swell.
Yes, the Philipstown Depot Theater's Looking Swell program.
It's been an ongoing.
Wow.
They are looking swell.
Yeah.
Here, Rich,
Swanky.
you need to sign.
I need to sign that. Anybody want me to sign that? All right, well, we're happy that the Hudson River Valley Greenway has seen to fund this, and also that the Depot Theater Group has applied for it and been successful. So they do a lot of work down there, obviously, as earlier reported, replacing the seats, redoing the floors. It's an ongoing effort, but they really are sprucing the place up. New seats, that was vital down there. Those, for me, were about a 45-minute seat.
These are supposedly more comfortable, but they're gonna be exact same number of seats.
They
so-
couldn't be any less comfortable.
But I think it's important to point out they've raised in this campaign $200,000 in private
Right.
donations as well.
That's great.
It's really great.
It's
a lot of work to do
Has been
that.
done already. The HVAC system was replaced already.
All right, so if we get a motion on a resolution supporting this application, authorizing me to sign it.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed? Tina, is this the only place?
Yes, that's
So I
the
can't get it wrong.
Are you gonna do it in black?
Sure.
Ed Doyle. I'm channeling Ed Doyle.
I am too at the vest. I don't know if you noticed.
You are.
Is this black or red?
It's actually black. I thought the same thing.
This is a misleading pen. Okay, have that. All right. So, just one more item here, or something for discussion. The grant, the CFA grant that we had applied for in, pardon me, 2013, just got approved for, and this is for the Fjord Trail Washburn parking lot that is across from Little Stony Point. So we had, at that time authorized me to make the application, made the application. We were successful in getting the grant, $100,000. And the state of New York, New York State Parks has agreed to match that in a 2-for-1. So we'll be able to extend the work that's going to be done down there. It really is a necessary project. It'll get the cars off the road at that point, and we're looking to do this spring. So I guess really what I'd be looking for is, I don't even know if we need a reapproval. The board had authorized me to apply for the grant.
Do we have to accept it? Do we have the money now?
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be good to have the board, and I just got this stuff. Tina, did I give you this? I just got this. That's just a contract signature page.
300,000 now?
Well, we're gonna get 100,000, and the state of New York will be funding the rest of the project. This is just a contract signature page, but just for records. The whole grant is the application and all the filings there's 11 attachments. I'll get those to you tomorrow, Tina.
No, I did get them.
All right, I thought I sent them over. So I just didn't want to print the whole thing. It doesn't make sense. We only have to file the signature pages. The other things are requisition forms. There's a huge set of guidelines and administrative actions that have to be taken during the process. But at any rate, I'd like to put forth a resolution that the board will authorize me to sign the grant to accept the funds.
I'll so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed?
This is exclusively just for the parking lot.
This one is, yes. We also have a multimodal grant that Assemblywoman Gale secured for us for the Fair Street Sidewalk Project. Right now, there's only one hurdle to overcome there, and that's the county engineering department wants more of a shoulder on the road than we can actually accommodate on Fair Street. We can only accommodate, well, right now, there's really not the room to have a 4-foot shoulder and a sidewalk.
Right.
So I think we would opt for having a sidewalk there. There's really nothing at this point. They're going by a really stringent standard, something that even is beyond DOT, I think. And there are alternate road standards, and I think we'd be better off having a sidewalk there than having nothing, having people walking.
Is there a 4-foot shoulder on the rest of Fair Street?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, that came in at the 11th hour. That came in really the day of the bid opening, which was kind of a shame because we couldn't open the bid and we couldn't really. So we're going to go out to bid again on that as soon as we get this resolved. I'm going to be meeting with legislator Scuchamara and a member from Scenic Hudson, and hoping, and our engineer and somebody from DOT and the county planning to try to iron this out. So we can, again, yes.
Again?
But we'll get it ironed out and hopefully move on with that. So both those projects should take place this season, is what we're really hoping for.
I guess the concern is because people park their cars going in, right, against the fence down there, and they take
Yeah.
that 4 feet away, the cars may stick out. But the plan was to move the fence in a little
The
bit.
fence
too.
is supposed to get
come
moved
in a
out.
little bit, right?
They were gonna take the fence down anyway and redo the fence, so fence is gonna get moved in close to the dugout. The cars will be able to go in, even though, it'll be the width of the sidewalk we're going in plus, so there'll be room for
So it should be-
head-in parking.
Right.
Nothing will change there. The only thing that'll change is you won't have kids walking on a road with no really defined pedestrian area. You'll have a sidewalk for people to walk on.
And currently, we do Pop Warner down there, practice, and if there's cars parked there, the kids can't get between the fence and the car.
Yeah.
So they walk behind the cars along
Out the
street,
road.
right, which is not good.
No, because you're on the road,
Especially-
coming traffic all the time.
No, it'll be a vast improvement, And again, our thanks to Scenic Hudson, who has done a lot of work on the whole project. Amy Casal up there is heading it up. She's terrific. So at any rate, that's it for me for now. We need to schedule a workshop for next week.
Yeah, Carl requested a workshop. It could be any Wednesday. For the rest of the month, he'd like to discuss a purchase of a vehicle that was spec'd in the last budget.
Let's get together with them next Wednesday and
Okay.
get it out of the way. Everybody fine with next Wednesday?
I may not be able to make it, but I'll try.
All right, well,
It's the 10th, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Ash Wednesday, yep.
Wow, already?
What time will we meet? 7:30?
7:30.
I'll just confirm that it's good with Carl. I was thinking later in the month, but that's fine. I'm sure he'll be all right with it, but I'll confirm tomorrow.
There's no shortage of things to discuss, that's for sure. We also need to start doing some interviews, so maybe we can knock out a few interviews that night
Yeah.
for these positions. We have a ton of resumes, so everybody take a look at all the resumes,
Yeah, that's a lot.
and we'll set some up.
Yeah.
Who will schedule that?
I can get Dottie to do that, yep. Call people in. Maybe we can do, need an hour's worth next week, do 4. They don't need to be, 15 minutes is generally long enough sitting there with somebody. Get an idea. So we'll do 4 next week, next Wednesday also.
What time are you gonna start that?
Well, if we meet with Carl at 7:30, we could start it. Do you want to do them earlier at 6:30?
6:30.
6:30 or so, yeah, 6:30 is fine, I'm sure.
To interview or work with the workshop with Carl?
Workshop with Carl, we would start at 7:30, because that's the
Okay.
official.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're
Starting
gonna
More
do the,
interviews from 6:30 to 7:30.
You know what, I may have a conflict next Wednesday at 6:30, though.
Do you want to move Carl up to 7 and then do them? Well, the only problem is you don't know how long that's going to go, right?
We can't, we
You
got
wanna
our
talk to-
our
yeah.
official
Yeah.
meeting time, 7:30.
Right.
well, we could push Carl back a week if you want to do that. I don't think it's anything that needs to be addressed.
All right, well, let's just do the interviews, and we'll put Carl off till another Wednesday.
It will be the 17th, the following one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll meet on the 17th, but let's plan on meeting
That's,
next Wednesday,
I don't know if
What
you're going,
time?
kids are off, I think.
next week.
No, the 17th. 14th.
Well, tentatively scheduled for the 17th,
Yeah.
but let's meet at 7:30 next Wednesday, and let's do 5, at least 5.
Okay.
Wow. 7:30.
Yep. And then the following week, we're gonna have to just go 3 days in a row or something, or 2 nights in a row, and just get them done.
The following week's President's Week.
Following week is President's Week, uh-oh,
Oh, yeah,
that'll be a problem.
I mean,
Can we do
Well,
Thursday?
do we wanna go Thursday also with interviews?
Next,
The
why
11th,
not? Let's get it over. We need
So we'll schedule a bunch of them for the 11th also,
7:30?
7:30. Maybe we can start a little earlier on
Yeah.
that
that's
Thursday, we'll
it.
start at 7?
Yeah.
All right, 7 PM on the 11th.
We also got an application today for the planning board,
No, yeah.
a resume for the planning board.
Okay.
So there is an opening on the zoning board currently, and there's an opening on the planning board, and we're seeking applicants for both.
Good.
So we have one person interested in the planning board, right, so far?
Right.
we have one resume for the planning board.
Well, we have more than, I got
We have one for the planning board.
Oh, you mean as a member?
Right.
one
It's a
too.
member of the planning board, not the clerk.
I'll have to
right.
send it out to everybody. So I got one sent to me.
As a member of the planning.
Last-
Oh, right, I'm
last
sorry,
week.
we did get one, I'm sorry,
That's the
that's
only
two.
one, right?
You're
So now we have 2.
Right.
We have 2, okay.
I might have 3. I got Neil Tolman.
Christine Colacerto today, and then there was another one, you said?
No, so there's 2. All right.
Andy Moraney mentioned in person down in Continental Village, so I told him to stop by.
Well, you gotta send in a resume
Yeah,
at
that's what I
least,
said.
or a letter of interest or something. You don't have to have a
No.
resume. Anything from the board?
Just one thing I have, I attend the village board meetings, there's a concern over here at the Haldane School by the Craigside Drive here. No, I guess by the cemetery right over here, the crosswalk, they have the crosswalk that kinda goes on an angle. And I guess there's a lot of cars just kinda roll through that stop sign over there. So they were thinking about changing that crosswalk to go across and then up, as opposed to going on an angle. And I went by the other day, and I see that they have the Cold Spring cop stops by now, monitoring that a little bit more, so. There's been a lot of safety concerns over there the last few months.
A lot of traffic.
Yeah, well, I guess more and more parents are dropping the kids off over here, as opposed to going around to the circle. Because it's a lot easier for them to drop them off and go down the train station, wherever they have to go. So that's
Circle
what's
gets-
been going on in traffic, the
Takes a
circle
long
takes a
time
long
to
time.
go.
Circle gets
So
backed up.
that's the reason why there's a lot of more traffic there in
Drop
concern.
off the bottom. I bet they could walk from the bottom to the top.
I'm sure they
I
could.
know it's a hardship, but
Terrible.
when I was a boy.
Walked up walk to school 10 miles uphill both ways.
That's right. Realistically, you think kids used to walk from top East Mountain to Route 9 to catch the bus.
That must have been when you were a kid.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I went to Sandra Galiff's, the Assemblywoman's meeting at the Butterfield Library on January 16th. This obviously talks to the people in the town and so forth. Some of the items that you discussed tonight were the bigger items. She asked me to go over a little, I gave a little summary as to what our challenges are now going on in the town, including our upgrades to these buildings. But also, she asked for some feedback going back to the board about the cap. And one thing I said, personally, I do feel that we're a small town, we should not be part of the 2% cap when we're expected, like you had mentioned earlier, being forced to have to deal with state increases such as the Medicare and workman's comp, which is going up drastically each year, and we have to find other monies to spend it. So, that was a big point I raised in that one. They are taking a look at, obviously, there was some corruption issues with the Assembly and Senate this year, so there were some concerns about the fact that it's a part-time position. They do work only part of the year, but there is going to be a discussion on their part as to possibly making it full-time. So, again, it all depends on the workload. It was really designed originally for the upstate people because a lot of them had farms, or have farms still, and certain parts of the year they don't want to be tied up, and part of the part-time allows them to handle the agricultural side of their own employment. So, and then what to pay and so forth was an issue. They also are cleaning up some state constitutional issues. The state constitution is very outdated, doesn't recognize women, for instance, in a number of parts of it, which is, so it's when you hear that, you know that it's probably going way back and it hasn't been updated, so.
But there's a reason why it hasn't been updated, I'm sure. New York State.
So, and the big piece too is to try to take a look at some relief for the school tax beyond the property. To try to find some way. She says the circuit breaker was discussed as well, but beyond that, some relief and then some parity. This is one of very few states that doesn't control a lot of the other towns in the sense of so a lot of states force them to reorg to have the same standards, and we run into that especially in Lakeland, and it is happening also in North Highlands, but where other towns affect that and drive those costs up whenever there's an increase. And if the majority of people are in other towns where it isn't going to increase that much because of their percentages, they're going to vote for it. So that is another issue. So I'm glad they're looking at it because it is definitely an issue that needs to be addressed in this state.
The people who live in Continental Village who are in the Lakeland School District get screwed. There's no two ways about it. There's something terribly wrong there. We've had meetings on it. We've had meetings with the Lakeland School Board.
The town has done some relief efforts for it, but it's
They get
their end of it.
They get completely rolled over in the next year's increase.
Yes, right.
The people down there are suffering, and it's just not right. It's really not right. We don't have a mandate in the Lakeland School District. We don't have really a mandate in any school board, but I can't understand why a property on one side of the street and a property on the other side of the street that are similar properties have two different school tax bills.
Right.
When they're assessed the same.
Yep.
It just doesn't make any sense. And the people in Philipstown, in Continental Village, are being screwed royally. And we've had multiple meetings on this and gotten really not very far at all. We've had
for a time, but then it just.
right. Well, we went down and did some revaluation down there and reassessed some homes, and we knocked things down 7%. The following year they raised it by 11. So the efforts that we've made have been negated.
I think the effort should be now to go to Albany, maybe. I don't know.
It has to happen on the state level. It's not going to
It
happen
does have to happen on the state
individually. We're
level.
not going to be able to fix it down here.
No, because we don't set school districts. School districts are by mutual consent. It's strange that school district lines don't follow town lines.
It's the same case in North Highlands with the proposed trailer park that was going to go in, would have been in the Haldane School
Right.
District,
Fishkill.
but in the village of Fishkill. So the
right.
town
And the only way that these school district lines can be altered is by mutual consent and then by the state. So the school districts need to agree. That's a tough, would be a tough sell. But there's a definite problem there. I feel for the people down there. We've tried to fix it. We've done efforts, but everything we do just gets rolled right over, so. Well, Mike, thanks for that report. That's great.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
I have,
Go ahead, you go first.
Sure, I have some good news on a difficult subject. I don't know if anybody noticed, our town hall's rearranged a bit, and we have a nice green box down there, which is the medication return box. And after a long, kind of complicated effort with different organizations and entities involved, we got it done. So thank you to first, the two people that initiated it was two Philipstown parents, Gina Van Notzel and Allison Jacoby initiated it, brought it up to the Philipstown Cares Coalition's attention, and after, a lot of inquiry and trying to figure out how to make this happen and lots of, misinformation about what the regulations were, it was brought to the village with, no funding, no information, no regulations information. Mary Sorry and Fran Murphy spent hours and hours researching it, trying to figure out how to get it done. And luckily, the wise leadership of that board and the mayor determined that wasn't a good spot to put it. It was not practical. It wasn't cost effective. We'd agreed to pay for their personnel at 2 hours a week for our people to climb up the stairs, where we would have to pay a police officer because we were told that's what the regulations were, pay manpower for 2 hours a week. But then I took it over, I did some research, and it turned out that's not what needed to happen. It could actually be in town hall. We needed a surveillance camera put in. The town board graciously agreed to fund that and do that. And John and Bob moved some furniture around and put it in, and it's done and it's in, and I think it will go a long way in getting, medications out of homes that aren't being used, where vulnerable people are, having access to them, and, trying to combat this awful crisis. So thank you, everybody, for your help, especially to the Philipstown Cares Coalition, and the Sheriff's Department agreed to, remove the medications when the box gets full. So we appreciate their cooperation, and especially the Philipstown Cares Coalition, which is funded by a federal grant, and they've done a lot of work in our community, and they continue to do so. I encourage anybody and everybody to join this coalition. It's open to all.
All right. Well, thank you. I mean, and also anything to highlight the issue. I mean, again, the coalition highlights the issue, but anything you can bring up to say, look, if you have these medications in your house, anything you want to drop off, you can put back in that box as far as medication goes. So
It's an important time. The anniversaries of when this crisis hit this community the hardest are coming up, and we've lost 7 in this community in a very short period of time. So I think it's important to keep that in mind as these anniversaries are coming up, and think about, what we can do as a community to help with this. Thanks.
And also, it's just not for, it's for any kind of medication. You shouldn't be throwing these things down the drain anyway, because they're not suitable to be putting back into the
There's a
environment.
list of what can and can't be put in on the box, so you should take a look at it before you throw something in there. But
Right. You have something, John?
oh, yes, Monday, we're meeting with, I sent you that note today, we're meeting with the Village of Nelsonville.
Is it a secret meeting?
No, it's not. Danielle Pack, sorry. Danielle Pack McCarthy, trustee from the Village of Nelsonville, their attorney, Kevin, myself, and Richard, to discuss the consolidation with the building department again.
Awesome.
What time are we doing at 10 a.m.?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Jesus.
Just you two and them?
Boy, you're going to make me get up early, huh?
You have to bring coffee.
Yeah.
This is just regarding the building department?
Yeah,
or-
their attorney had some questions with the proposed change that Kevin had presented to us the other night, so he wanted to, go around a little bit with Kevin and clear up some issues, so.
It's in the clubhouse.
Secret.
Secret clubhouse, yeah.
He-Man Women Haters Club.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say
Secret
that.
meeting.
I'll be
How
playing
come
the.
Danielle gets to go and I can't?
She's Darla.
You could take my spot. You could take
I'm going
my
to play.
spot.
John's going to play the part of Alfalfa. He's going to paint the sides of his head. All right. That it for everybody?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, good work. Anything from the audience?
Oh, I'll go first.
Okay, how are you, Lillian?
I'm fine.
Good.
Lillian Moser, Village of Cold Spring, and town employee,
Yay.
which is the reason why I'm here. We're having a little problem on 9D. People like running that red light. It's been happening more frequently the past few weeks. Yesterday, we almost had a T-bone of a car into a Haldane school bus that was coming out of the school. It would have T-boned the school bus would have hit the pole, and guess who was standing behind the pole? Hi, how you doing? I did talk to County Legislator Scooch Morrow when I saw her at an event a couple of weeks ago, and she asked me how things were, because she passes me on her travels, as do Councilman Van Tassel does, and sometimes Supervisor Shea. I said to her, well, I almost got hit by a car the other day, and she's like, and she said she was going to talk to Sheriff Smith. And I explained to her that it happens more in the afternoon than it does really in the morning, because we do have a sun glare problem down there in the afternoon. And I know that the Sheriff's Department would probably have a difficulty getting someone down there in the afternoon because it's right around their shift change. I did have a undercover state trooper there this morning in his unmarked car. But he kind of sat there in his corner, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him and kind of point out what the issues were. So if I can just get a little help from somebody. I've spoke to Superintendent Mitchell down in Garrison School and Principal Griffins, and Principal Griffins did send a little message out to the parents reminding them that, you know, the crossing guard is our friend and we need to listen to what she has to say and blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't help with the traffic on the road and the light changing green for the cars to come out and me trying to get the kids across and cars deciding, oh, red light, I'm going to go through it. So there's been a couple
I did notice a state trooper sitting, I actually got past there this morning on my way to work, so somebody passed me just below the school, I couldn't believe it. But there was a state trooper there in the afternoon last week, but I can reach out to the Sheriff's Department or...
Yeah, usually that's what it takes. It takes
Right.
a call to the sheriff's department for them to patrol that a little more frequently for
We
a
had an
time,
issue
and
with-
then it usually subsides.
Right. I mean, yesterday, it scared me so much yesterday. Tina will tell you, I came in here yesterday morning and I was like, I mean, I think it got me more because the Haldane school bus was involved too. And I mean, the light turned green, he started to come out to make the turn, and I heard him hit his brake.
So
And
what time, is this like 3 o'clock?
Well, the problem's either during that 8:30 time, but more frequently it's between the 10, I'm there from 10 minutes to 3 in the afternoon until 20 after 3. And that, there's a sun, if you're coming southbound on 90, the sun's right in your eyes. So I get it, you know, the light, the sun, but a lot of times it's the northbound traffic that's running the light though. So I figured I had nothing else to do tonight, so, and since I don't see you all on a regular basis, or when I do see you, it's doing this.
There'll also be there's a traffic safety board meeting next Thursday, which I'll be at, but I'll call in the meantime, and I'll bring it up at that.
Okay.
meeting. They actually have a school bus committee that
Well,
we've
the
actually.
Haldane school bus, he didn't do anything wrong. He
No.
stopped at the red light, he was waiting to make his right-hand turn. I happened to look up, the light turned green, he started to go, and then I heard the brake on the bus, and I looked up, and this black car just came flying past both of us.
Garrison had an issue on Route 9 with school buses in the afternoon. And it was brought up to the safety board. They met with the superintendent at that point, and then they had a sheriff follow the school bus, which eliminated the problem.
I mean, there is last year we did have one of the deputies, and I do not know his name. He would stop in the morning, he'd park his car over near St. Philip's.
Right.
He'd put his back flashers on, so it'd make it look like he was still in the car. But he'd actually get out of the car, and he'd come and walk over to me, he'd talk to me for a few minutes, then he'd walk into the school parking lot, and he'd go over there and kind of check out the parents as they were leaving about seatbelts and cell phones and all of that. I mean, so he was there, and that was in the morning, but I rarely see anybody there in the afternoon. Once in a blue moon, I will see a trooper there. But like I said, it's been happening more frequently lately, so I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention.
Thank you.
So
for
John,
bringing
you'll,
it.
I'll call in the morning.
all right. Thank you for bringing that to us. Anyone else? Yes, Terry.
Hi, Terry.
I'm very, very pleased to announce on behalf of the Old Road Society of Philipstown that we've been able to secure the assistance of probably the number one, I won't even say probably, the number one gravel and dirt road expert in the United States to come to Philipstown in the next month to begin to do some evaluation of our historic dirt roads, take a look at them, look at their condition, come up with recommendations that he may be able to present to us for cost-effective maintenance strategies. I sent a little note to Richard about this yesterday and spoke with Carl about this as well to alert him and to get his thoughts about that. And I think it's going to be a really, really good opportunity. I mean, just to give you some idea as to who this is, the fellow's name is Ken Scorseth, and he has been the director of the South Dakota Local Transportation Assistance Program. But more importantly, he is the person who literally has written the book that the United States Department of Transportation's Federal Highway Administration uses in its comprehensive program for dirt and gravel road maintenance throughout the United States. The latest version of that was revised in August 2015. He's the author. He's the one who's put it together. And he has a wealth of experience. And if there's anybody who can help us try to figure out what should we do, how should we do it, how can we do it most cost effectively, this is the guy. And we're looking forward to having him come in. He plans to come in sometime in March, take a few days to take a look at the roads themselves, do some analysis, hopefully meet with Carl at that time. If any members of the board would like to meet with him, while he's in and around the area, certainly you'll be welcome to do so. He's also hopeful that, and as are we, that perhaps the following month, or maybe the month thereafter, could be April or May, he'd like to come and do a formal workshop program, perhaps, to present some of his conclusions, to take formal questions, to hear from the public, to go to interact with them. We're again very fortunate to have someone who is at this level. I mean, other local transportation assistance directors throughout the country look to him to give them advice as to how to do this stuff. I mean, I don't know where else we can turn to find someone who has this level of expertise. He truly is the number one in the United States, so we're really grateful that we're able to get him to come on in and that he's interested in assisting with this project.
Great. All right, well, when he's around, let us know, and then let us know when he finishes his work, and we'll schedule a workshop.
Great. Thank you very much, Richard.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
You may recall, back during the budget process, we were hopeful. I had mentioned something like this, that we were going to be trying to do something like this to get him in, but we weren't sure that we'd be able to. But now we know, and we have him coming.
Great.
So thank you.
All right, we look forward to it. Anything else? Okay. Vacancies, Continental Village Park District Advisory Committee, is this true? Like 3?
Tina, did Mike Phelan get hold of you about a couple of people interested? No. Okay, I'll follow up with this. Now, these people have to apply, right, for same as the other boards?
Used to have to let us know that who they are.
Okay, but I mean, as far as acceptance.
Otherwise, it's a real secret meeting.
No, I wouldn't do that, but I mean, do we, just so I can tell them, do they
We like
go before
everybody.
interviews?
They got a poll.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Board of Assessment Review, 1. Planning Board, 1. Zoning Board, 1. Approval of vouchers, general.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Highway,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Continental Village Park District,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor? I vote aye. Continental Village Water District,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I just want to note in the general vouchers, last night we did have a discussion about, we pulled one out. We taking a look at that?
Sue checked it out, and there was an escrow. I have never been involved with the cell tower one
Right.
before, so there
So
is an escrow account, and it's covering both that engineer and Ron.
Okay.
So
Just wanna
there's
make
no
sure.
expense to the town at all.
Good.
So, yes.
All right, terrific. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye.